Hello everybody, good morning or good evening. Some thoughts today on measurement. Very much prompted by your, as always, excellent comments that have been coming in on the course. And again, I just want to really congratulate you because it's not just your own thoughts and your own comments, but I think you've been engaging really well with each other's comments as well. So that's fantastic. So, measurement. Several people have been saying it's really hard to measure in a human rights type context, and I guess you could argue that this is true about any context where you're looking at complex social change. For example, we might say, oh, a law is passed on equal employment rights for women. Okay, so we can measure that. So far, so good. Well, then, is the law being applied? Okay, yep, we can measure that. But then, the difficult questions, oh, what difference does it make? So, let's not kid ourselves. It is hard to do this, it's hard to do it well. On the other hand, I've also seen difficulty used in many cases as an excuse for not doing it all. It's so hard, we can't measure anything, so let's not bother. Well, that doesn't help either. And I also appreciate that for many of you, it's even more complex because it's not you doing it directly. You might be doing it with your partners, your grantees, with different stakeholders. So it might be about encouraging them to do this as well and how that all fits together. So what I always suggest thinking about is let's look at the levels of a logical framework. Well, we've got the goal. So that's the really big picture, higher level change. And we also know that the outcomes are not going to give you all of that goal by itself, but they should be contributing to it. Okay, so let's have a look at this in a bit more detail. We know that an outcome is a change in the situation of the target population and or a change in behavior. And I think when we're looking at these more complex issues, such as human rights, I think it makes sense to look at these in more detail and think, well, how do we look at behavior change? And what I always suggest that people do is, so you look at your project, which is 2, 3, 4 years, whatever the project is, and you know what the project is trying to do, and you get into a time machine. And you go forward in your time machine to the end of the project, and you get out. What do you see? What do you observe? Well, what you can see, you will see people behaving in a certain way. And a behavior is something that can be measured. It doesn't mean it's easy to measure it, but it can be observed and it can be measured. So if you say, well, these are the behaviors that we want to see, these are the behaviors that will contribute to the goal. Okay, now, what are the outputs? What are the tangible deliverables that will help me get to this outcome? And then you have the activities and so on and so forth. So that's my suggestion. Not to say it's easy, it's not, but I do think it's possible to do. There are complexities, which again means that it's really important, as we've said several times, to invest the time and maybe the resources, the skills, the people, to make sure that this design process is done well. And if the organizations that you're working with, you've got theories of change, then hopefully logical frameworks can serve as a bridge between, again, the higher level change and the concrete tasks and activities on the ground. Anyway, I hope that was helpful, and as always, I very much welcome your comments. Thank you. Bye-bye.